Triple H sat across from Cody Rhodes for 97 minutes. And on those 97 minutes, he said things that nobody is talking about, not the fans, even dirt sheets, not the analysts. We're going to fix that right now. So welcome to the T-Drop Strong Brew. No soft behavior. Cody Rhodes dropped a podcast this week with Triple H showing up. 97 minutes on April 9th, 6 days after SmackDown went completely off the rails with the shoot promo between Cody and Pat McAfee. And I'm sitting there watching this thing thinking, it might not be just a podcast, it might be partially message, but it is some good information that we got here. Stuff that we didn't know about Triple H in the past, or things that he had to do in the past, but also things he's learned as a worker as well as becoming a boss. But then the way he interacts with Cody is very important, because these are going to be the coach and the quarterback backing up WWE in the longer future until we know who is the next big thing. But front and back, I pulled throughout this podcast, this episode, 5 moments that I think were important that we should reflect when it comes to Triple H. No big filler things, just the 5 things that will make you see everything happening for Triple H as his career progressed, and maybe even WWE right now. Maybe it makes you look at WWE completely different. So be sure to hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you don't miss it. So without further ado, let's get to the first one, which is the moment number 1, which is Arn Anderson speech while Triple H was a staff person. So I want to make this clear that obviously this podcast is owned by Triple H, so fair use. We did our best to be able to dissect this for people to be able to enjoy it. So let's go through the first segment and we can discuss about it.
I think you might have even been there at the time I heard Arn.
So it's Triple H talking about Arn Anderson coming into the locker room and talking about a very important thing that many people take for granted.
Card guys, and he's never going to be champ and all this stuff. And Arn went off on this huge promo about, like, I don't understand all of you. He said, you guys all see me as a big deal, right? And everybody's like, yeah, you're fucking Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson, number 1 guy. He's one of the best. 4 horsemen, man. Anyway.
Yeah. One of the greats of all time, blah, blah, blah. He said, I got a Hall of Fame worthy career. I've got all this stuff, right? He said, Carter, nothing more ever. I never main evented a thing unless I was in the ring with Flair. I never main evented a thing. If I was tagging with Flair, I was in the main event.
That's true. He never did his own main event as a solo competitor. It always was with Ric Flair, because Ric Flair was over as hell. He was always seen as a mid-carder or lower, or mainly mid-carder.
Wasn't nothing. I was a mid-carder. I was a guy there to get guys over on the way to getting up to the Dusties and the Flairs and the people like that. I was a mid-card guy. You guys see me as this unbelievable legend that you all listen to and all this stuff. But when it comes to your own careers, and many of you have already surpassed the position I was ever in, you're miserable about it because you think that you haven't reached the success of other things. Yeah. But yet, I see myself as having this amazing career. I fed my family. Yeah. I got to do things I would have never done. All this stuff, like, incredibly successful. Like, man, what a journey I've had. But if I used your metrics to measure it, mid-card, I'm nothing. I never amounted to anything.
Sit with that for a second, because it isn't. So that was Arn Anderson, a guy who calls himself a mid-carder, but he is also known as the Enforcer, he was part of the 4 Horsewomen. He's a Hall of Famer, one of the most respected men in the history of this business. And he went in there and said, or at least Triple H said, that Anderson once walked into the locker room full of guys who looked up to him, legends, veterans, and he said that he had a Hall of Fame worthy career. He has all this stuff, but he is a mid-carder, nothing more ever. He would never main event a thing unless he was with Ric Flair, which it is true. This man who made the Figure 4 look dangerous just by being near it, the man whose spinebuster is still being replicated on television every single week, called himself a mid-carder. Like I said, he got a Hall of Fame worthy career. I've got all this stuff, mid-carder, nothing more ever. I never main evented a thing unless I was in the ring with Ric Flair. I was tagging with Flair. I was in the main event. If that's the case, if I wasn't nothing, I was a mid-carder. Now, Triple H uses this story to illustrate a crucial lesson for people to hear. Hopefully, the younger talent of today hear this, because you create your own bitterness by measuring your success solely against external metrics. He expressed that he finds it heartbreaking when talented individuals are miserable because they aren't considered. Now, he didn't name who, because he's definitely talking about the talent today, because everyone's trying to reach for the main event, but no one is trying to perfect mid card at this time. Not many people are doing that. And I think that's the point he's trying to make. You don't have to have a Hall of Fame career by being only the top person. It'll be great if you can. It'll be a bonus if you can reach it, but it's okay, because you will be a Hall of Famer. You will be well respected as a mid carder. You have to be being proud of it, about that is very rare at this day and age. But anyway, here's the part that got me when it came to this. He wasn't self deprecating. He wasn't even fishing for comments. He was teaching at that moment with Cody. He was teaching him. He was telling that those guys in that locker room know your role, appreciate your lane, and stop spending your career bitter about something that may never happen. You can still make something well worth. Now, I want you to think about that speech, and I want you to apply it to right now, because we've got guys on the current roster who seem visibly frustrated, who are doing interviews about their spots, who are, and I'm going to say it, create their own bitterness publicly in real time on social media sometimes. Arn gave that speech before Twitter existed, before even Reddit existed. Before even the internet fandom, IWC could amplify every grievance in real time about what people are saying online. Imagine what he'd say today. And here's the kicker, though. Here's why this matters right now in 2026. I checked after this interview. Arn Anderson responded on X about this moment, and he said, "I still believed this as much today as I did then. Thanks, Triple H." He didn't walk it back. He didn't soften it. He doubled down on his statement. In what world is that not the most important wrestling story of the week? It should be, because it's an important lesson about fan wrestlers. Just because these guys are in the main event, that doesn't, or they're the top card, that doesn't mean you are losers or you are nothing. It's okay to be a mid card. And it sucks that some of the storylines do use that element of talking about, oh, you're just a mid carder. So what? I'm a mid card. I'm the best mid carder ever. Why can't you say that? Why can't you be that? There are so many good mid carders that are Hall of Famers now, or that their career was better. Their best part of their career was through mid card storylines or mid card championships or anything like that. You don't have to be the top card to be considered Hall of Fame worthy or respectable wrestler. You could be a mid carder. That's why there should be heavy emphasis on making sure the US title and the Intercontinental title or the TBS Championship or the TNT Championship in AEW or whatever, the X Division and TNA, there should be respect put to those titles. And the only way you can do that is with good storytelling and wrestlers being invested and being proud to be in those positions. Only when you prove that, maybe you be worthy to be on top of the top card. Maybe you'll be lucky. But if you're not, it's okay. But that's me. Now, that was the first one. We have 4 more to go, so let's keep going. What is the next one? This one was fun to talk about. Am I talking about Ricochet, Chef? Maybe I am. Maybe I am. Because Ricochet is a person that was definitely been talking online about it. And maybe Triple H was talking about him, but there are other people that have left WWE because they were not happy about being mid-card. That you have to make the mid-card title wanted. And if you make it wanted, that means you are wanted, but whatever. Ricochet has a national title, and he's still not talked about as often, to the point that he had to make a stupid ass comment online that people got mad about and he almost got fired about. So I feel bad for Ricochet. He's very talented, but he got into the mindset that I need to be on the top card. You were perfectly fine as a mid carder. No offense. I don't think you will ever get a top title. In all honesty, Rey Mysterio got the title and he got it for a moment. And after that, to be honest, how many people actually remember most of the stuff that he did as a top champ? And no disrespect to Rey Mysterio. His career is mostly through mid-card opportunities, in my opinion. And it's still respectable. And he is still a respectable person because of it. So why can't someone and nowadays like Ricochet can't fucking accept that? Accept it, man. Whatever. It's that attitude is why people like Triple H is like, yeah, we're not gonna give you any more opportunities. All right. Oh, now we're gonna talk about the Triple H on talking about whatchamacallit, the damn throne. All right. Here we go. All right.
I think it is. You never once, when I came back, asked me about clearly taking your throne,
Yeah.
making it imagery in my entrance.
So this is number 2, and this one's been questioned for almost 3 years now since Cody Rhodes' return. 2022, Cody Rhodes leaves AEW. He goes on TV. He appears in AEW, and I think it was at Double or Nothing. He goes on TV. He takes a sledgehammer, Triple H's sledgehammer, quote unquote, and he absolutely destroys an imagery of Triple H's throne on camera, obviously intentionally to make a statement for AEW. And from that moment, the IWC has been asking one question: is there heat? Did Triple H take that personally? Did it affect Cody's return to WWE? Did it affect his push? 3 years of speculation, 3 years of dirt sheet guesses, 3 years of probably Reddit threads. And at this point in time of the podcast, which honestly, this was near the end of the podcast, about an hour after, Triple H answers it. So let's take a look.
Away from here, starting my own thing and taking your hammer to it.
Yeah. If you're trying to get out there, you're trying to do some cool shit, trying to do some different stuff.
There you go. There you go. He respects him because he's trying to make a name for himself.
Getting out there. That's being bold and making a statement.
You did tell me, because you said, go rattle the cages.
Yeah.
And kind of
go rattle the cages, Cody. I believe in you. You can't do it here, but you can do it out there. So go for it.
made yourself the target for me to rattle in terms of the optics of wrestling. Yeah. There was no malice for sure, because this is after I won the Ring of Honor title. One of the first texts I got back to was yours. Congrats.
Congrats, Cody. I congratulate you for winning, but you're not welcome yet. Go do more cage rattling. Go. Maybe break a throne. I don't know.
I never thought about anything other than, yeah, good for him. Go get it.
That's right. That's right, Chef Maku. He did poke the bear, but I just smiled and laughed and said, good for you.
Anyway, he said it. There's no malice, none. He understood exactly why Cody did it. He saw it not as disrespect, but as a guy using the tools he had available to make the most of his career. He cleared up the air finally, completely. I don't know why this was the first thing that he asked about. Maybe he did, but maybe he wanted to make it public for all the fans that were asking at this point. I'm pretty sure Cody, the first thing he said when he showed up, it's like, are you mad at me that I broke the throne?
No, man, but you are going to take a beating from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. You're not winning the belt that quick, bitch. Yeah, that's my receipt.
I'm sure. I'm just joking. That's not really what happened. But anyway, now I'm going to just take that at face value, because this is Triple H after all. This is a man who has been playing chess in this business since 1992. He's very calculated. Saying there was no malice on a podcast, I'm pretty sure he means it. But does that mean there's no mention behind closed doors that we'll never hear about? I'm sure. But here what it does mean. Triple H does obviously respect Cody enough to put this rumor to bed publicly. And in this business, public respect is the currency for many. He understands why Cody did it and basically said he would do the same if he was in that position. Make himself desirable and talk about to the point that other companies will start chasing him to come back, especially WWE chasing him. This is all business at the end of the day, most importantly. Business is business. Cody and Triple H are a team after all when it comes to the WWE side, and mutual respect between each other is needed to make their whole success happen. He is the quarterback and Triple H is the coach. They team up and they're trying to win more Super Bowl rings as they can for the fans, getting the fans excited and making sure that the eyes on the product. Now, that was the second point. We're halfway through this. 3 more. These next ones are going to stay with me. So let's get to the third point, which is, this one's going to be interesting. All right. This one I'm not going to pull up the audio. Instead, I'm going to tell the story, but let me pull up the first video. And the next one is on Triple H on the Arnold entrance or the Terminator entrance in WrestleMania 31. Yo, this person, whoever's filming, does not know how to hold the phone straight. It's not that hard, guys. Just hold it straight. 2 hands. This guy's shaking like he's nervous. So this is the Triple H entrance. As you can see, a bunch of Terminators were alongside the stage. In the middle, obviously, eventually Triple H pops up with his Terminator skull game gear. Anyway, and this is number 3, and this one is for everybody who thinks WWE's Writer Room is the answer to everything. So let's take a look. Continue. So they have this is when he faced Sting. That's right. This is when he buried Sting. He buried Sting. Let's be real about that. There, Triple H shows up, dun, dun, and then Arnold eventually shows up. Well, he doesn't show up. He visually talks. It was so random that all the other Terminators start going up randomly. I'm like, okay, they're all in the air. Good for them.
Judgment Day's here.
And that was it. This is number 3. Triple H talks about during the podcast about the Terminator spot. He reveals that on WrestleMania 31, Triple H does this Terminator entrance, full production, Terminators walking in the ring, one of the most spectacular entrances in WrestleMania history. Triple H reveals the Arnold Schwarzenegger voiceover almost didn't happen. It was last minute. He had to scramble a call to Arnold to get it done. And it was just in time, and somehow for WrestleMania, they got him to record it. The Terminator 2-time governor of California, and Triple H is on the phone with him days before WrestleMania, asking him for a favor. And Arnold said yes. He said yes. That's the part nobody talks about when they celebrate the entrance. The chaos behind the curtain. That we might not actually have this energy leading up to one of the most memorable moments in the more modern era of WrestleMania history. So the next time you watch a WrestleMania entrance and think, how do they pull this off? The answer is barely and beautiful. So that is one. I actually jumped it. I actually jumped to moment number 4, but we will go back to moment number 3 and we'll go from there. This is another fun moment. And this is about Triple H becoming the game. So Triple H also talks about in the podcast the moment he becomes the game. When the game was born in 1999, Sunday Night Heat, JR is going to interview him. And here's what he brought up in the podcast that he said about how he prepared. There was nothing written at the time. It was JR going to ask you a couple questions. How are you going to answer them? That's it. That was the prep. There was nothing written at the time. It was just a few questions. That's it. And then he says he was able to drop the line, the effing game. And the producer is like, we're just going to shoot it from the other side so we don't see your mouth. Because they didn't know if it worked. They weren't even sure. And then Triple H says the next time he was on TV, he walks out and he sees 5 or 6 signs in the crowd saying the game. And already a week later after he did that promo, and he said that's how fast the audience told him that he was onto something. Now, fast forward to 2026, WWE has a full writer's room, scripts, bullet points, producers, and earpieces, promos galore, reviewing everything before they are. And I want you to ask yourself, how many the game moments have we had since then? How many times has a superstar been given nothing but a question and a camera and they just went with it and created something legendary? The best character in Triple H's career wasn't built in a writer's room for the most part. It was built in real time with instinct and JR and other people asking the right questions to get them over. So let me know in the comments, do you think WWE's current system helps or hurt moments like that from happening? Should the younger talent be able to do or push to do the same thing that people like Triple H, Stone Cold, and The Rock have done? I think so. They should be tested on those moments and push them to do that, but they won't. It is what it is. I think we need to go back to those moments. Now, we are going to skip this, and then we're going to move to the last part. So we're on the last one, and this one changed, for the most part, how you watch everything happening right now in WWE. So let's get to it. Number 5, and this isn't just a podcast moment. This is the entire context of why I feel personally, and this is my opinion, guys, this podcast was released as it is right now. So if I have a little conspiracy theory head on right now, it is what it is, because we are in a weird ass moment in WWE for the past 2 weeks. So I'm just overthinking everything at this point, and it's pretty annoying. But you know what happened on SmackDown? Pat McAfee comes out 2 weeks ago, cuts a promo that, according to many sources, says it was not on the plan rundown for the show. It wasn't written by WWE Creative. It was TKO's call. Pat McAfee, who is Ari Emanuel's client, not WWE's client, Ari's client, gets a microphone on WWE television and buries the current direction of the product. And then WWE Creative, according to other people like and Body Slam, says at this point, many believe now that Triple H tells Cody to go to the ring with no script and just shoot from the hip about what just happened. No script for Cody Rhodes on live television weeks before WrestleMania. And somebody in that building authorized it. So here's the theory that IWC at this point is running, and I have to agree. And I'm going to read exactly how it was written because somebody nailed it. And it says, where is it? Okay. It says the best way to put it is Pat McAfee promo was Ari Emanuel and TKO talking to Triple H. And Cody's promo was Triple H talking back to Ari Emanuel and TKO. So in briefest, Pat promo equals TKO's message. Cody's promo equals Triple H's message. And then 6 days later, Triple H shows up on Cody's podcast for a few minutes and ends with the interview with, he ends the interview with Cody and says to Cody, "You're a dream to work with." You can call it coincidence if you want, or it could be just a strategic podcast drop after the past week of crappy ass storytelling and shoot script we've been receiving. Or it could be genius at this point to build more anticipation for WrestleMania, or more people questioning what's really happening behind the scenes at WrestleMania. Now, I'll give you the counter argument because I have to be fair, because otherwise people will think I'm not being fair. Some people on Reddit, some people in the IWC are saying this whole thing is a work, that Triple H and TKO are using this corporate war narrative to sell tickets and create buzz heading into WrestleMania. And look, this is wrestling. Everything at this point could be a work, even unreal. I understand that, but here's where I land. Whether it is a work or a shoot, Triple H either gave Cody permission to say what he said on SmackDown, or Cody went rogue and Triple H has no public or not publicly corrected it. Either way, Triple H is letting this narrative breathe on purpose, meticulously, because he is the game after all, and he is that damn good. And this podcast dropped exactly when it did. Is him pouring gas on a fire he lit himself. He is the cerebral assassin after all, and he doesn't do accidents. These are the 5 moments I wanted to talk about with over an hour podcast, one podcast. The Arn Anderson speech that still applies today, the AEW throne reveal and truth, the unscripted promo that built a legend, the Arnold Schwarzenegger call that almost didn't happen, and the theory that reframes everything you're watching right now in WWE. I want to know which one hit you the hardest. Drop it in the comments and we can discuss it more. Thanks for watching. If the T hit right, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.